Christmas at my parents' house has always run on nostalgia and selective memory. The same ceramic angels on the mantel. The same overcooked ham. The same stories about how Daniel always had such promise. Daniel sat at the head of the table, as usual. My older brother. The golden child. The one whose detours were called adventures and whose failures were called phases. I took the side chair near the window. I've always preferred edges. Daniel's consulting gig might turn into something permanent, my mom said as she passed the potatoes. They really see leadership in him. Daniel gave a modest shrug that he had practiced since high school. No one asked about my year. They rarely did. When they did, it was framed as curiosity about whether I was still doing the computer thing. Halfway through dinner, my aunt asked what I'd been working on. "Oh," I said, cutting into my ham, "I sold the company." That got a few polite nods. "For how much?" Daniel asked, already distracted by his phone. 30,000? My mom guessed. Million. The word didn't land at first. It floated there, abstract and harmless. Daniel took a sip of wine and choked hard enough to make the glasses rattle. My mom reached for him instinctively. 30 million. He repeated. I nodded. Before taxes. After payouts and fees, obviously less. The table went very still. It wasn't admiration I saw on my brother's face, it was recalculation. "You never said it was that serious," he said. No one asked. Mom leaned back in her chair slowly. "That kind of money, that changes things." I'd expected disbelief. Maybe even a flicker of pride. What I hadn't expected was the speed. "Well," Daniel said, wiping his mouth with his napkin, "that's incredible. I mean, we always knew you were smart. You just needed the right support." Support. I remembered working 2 jobs in college while Daniel's tuition was covered because he needed to focus. I remembered moving into a studio apartment while my parents co-signed his second car loan. "You know," Daniel continued, voice steadying, "this could really help the family." I said nothing. He leaned forward. "I've got some debt. And Mom and Dad aren't getting younger. You've landed on your feet. It only makes sense you'd split it." I thought I'd measured him. "Split it," I repeated. "Half," he clarified, as if explaining basic math. "We're brothers." My mother nodded immediately. "He sacrificed a lot being the older one. You owe him for that stability." I almost smiled at the symmetry of it, my entire childhood compressed into one sentence. "You owe him everything," she said sharper now. "He paved the way." Daniel didn't interrupt her, he just watched me. The strange thing was I didn't feel angry. I felt tired. As if we were reenacting a scene written decades ago. "I don't owe anyone half of something I built," I said quietly. Mom's face flushed. "That's selfish." "Is it?" Daniel's tone hardened. "Don't act like you did this alone. We're family." That word again. Elastic when I needed help. Rigid when they needed leverage. I reached into my jacket and pulled out my phone. "I didn't bring this up to start anything," I said. "But since we're talking about it," I opened my email and turned the screen toward them. Closing documents were finalized last week. Proceeds were distributed yesterday. Daniel frowned. "Distributed where?" "Investors first. Then employee bonus pool. I set aside a retention trust for the team. There's also a foundation." "A foundation?" Mom repeated, incredulous. "For first-generation founders, seed grants, mentorship programs." Daniel's jaw tightened. "So you just gave it away?" "I allocated it," I corrected. At that moment my phone buzzed. My financial advisor's name lit up the screen. I had asked her to confirm year-end transfers tonight, anticipating paperwork questions. I answered on speaker. "Just confirming," she said, professional and brisk. "The charitable allocation and structured annuity have been executed. Remaining funds are secured under the holding agreement as planned." "Thank you," I replied. "That's all I needed." I ended the call. No one spoke for several seconds. The authority in her voice had done what mine couldn't. It made the decision concrete, administrative, final. Daniel leaned back slowly. "So there's nothing." "There's enough for me," I said. Not enough to divide like a lottery ticket. Mom's eyes filled, but not with sadness. With frustration. You could have changed our lives. I thought about that. I did change mine, I said. Silence spread across the table, thick and uncomfortable. The ham cooled. The candles flickered lower. Daniel laughed once, short and humorless. You think you're better than us now? No, I said. I just stopped thinking I'm responsible for you. That was the real offense. No one yelled after that. There was no dramatic exit. Just a dinner that continued in fragments. My aunt tried to restart a conversation about holiday travel. My dad focused on carving meat that didn't need carving. Something had shifted though, not explosively. Structurally. For the first time their expectations had run into a boundary that didn't bend. When I left, my mom hugged me stiffly. We're family? She whispered, as if reminding me of a rule. I know, I said. Outside, the air was sharp and cold. I sat in my car for a moment before starting the engine. $30 million hadn't exposed greed. It had exposed assumption. I didn't feel victorious. I felt clarified. Family, I realized, isn't an invoice you're handed for surviving childhood. It's a relationship you choose to maintain or redefine. As I drove away, my phone stayed silent. For once, the quiet didn't feel like neglect. It felt like terms being rewritten.